Season 4 of Stranger Things introduces Vecna, an evil being taking out the youth of Hawkins one by one, Freddy Krueger style.
I want you to join me.
And over time, we begin to notice a pattern in those who he's going after.
It's like everyone Vecna targets has something in their life. Something that's...
hurting them. Haunting them.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to wake her, man. She couldn't move. It was like she was in a trance or something.
Or under a spell.
A curse.
Vecna's curse.
Enter Vecna, Season 4's main bad guy. Described as a type of other-dimensional dark wizard, Vecna is able to put certain citizens of Hawkins under his power in a type of spell, where they lose awareness of what's going on immediately around them, and move into a type of dream state. His victims lose control of their bodies, and eventually succumb to his power. At first, we don't know why certain characters are powerless against Vecna, or why he's chosen them specifically, but over time we see they all have something in common. Each one of them is haunted by specific events in their past. It seems like Vecna's power is to manipulate the negative energy of a person's unresolved emotional pain.
Patrick, your nose. Oh, your nose is bleeding, dude.
Vecna thrives as a type of trauma parasite, living off the residual negative energy of another's invisible but very real mental and emotional pain. In this way, Season 4 illustrates how trauma is often a hidden wound, causing us to react in ways that may seem strange or confusing to others, or even to ourselves. We may not even realize that what we are experiencing are the symptoms of trauma. Intrusions of thought, loss of the present moment, avoidance, trouble concentrating, irregular sleep, hypervigilance are only a few of the effects of untreated trauma. I'll put a little reading in the notes of this video if you'd like to explore whether your current symptoms could be trauma-related.
If this all happened, why don't I remember?
Because you do not want to. Our brains have a defense mechanism in place to protect it from bad memories, from trauma. You buried these memories long ago.
One way of framing trauma is maladaptively stored memories. The trauma reactions we experience are the brain's way of letting us know it's having trouble processing an experience or a set of experiences. This affects memory recall in ways that go beyond the scope of what we will talk about here. But for now, let's just say trauma can have a number of different effects on our memory, ranging from intrusive, unwanted relivings of a past experience to other times even shutting down, parceling off, and causing us to forget particular aspects of memory so we don't even remember significant aspects of our lives. Elle's story arc in Season 4 in particular revolves around the idea of how trauma affects how the brain stores memories, placing them in a holding cycle until we are ready to process them.
That was another memory, a more powerful one, invading from your subconscious. You have demons, 11. You have demons in your past. That is why we must proceed carefully. One step at a time, one memory at a time. If we go too fast, I'm afraid you could become lost in the darkness.
And one of the side effects of the brain trying to work out these disturbing memories is that it interrupts present-oriented-ness. There's a number of ways this happens, including causing us to dissociate or zone out, or on the other hand, causing the brain to bring to mind images and memories so vividly, re-experiencing or reliving unprocessed memories from our past, that they eclipse what is actually going on in the present moment. Even though years could have passed, many trauma survivors feel as though they are literally back in those early experiences. We could say that the result of trauma is to be frozen in time while our brain, body, and nervous system try to work out how to process overwhelming experiences. And while unable to fully process the experience, our system becomes disintegrated or broken up into parts in unhelpful ways. This is why people in trauma often feel like they're fighting against their own selves. We see this depicted in the series as trauma survivors are shown literally losing control of their bodies under Vecna's spell. Vecna's power literally ungrounds them. The imagery in these scenes from the series depicting Vecna's spell, albeit unsettling for viewers who are sensitive to horror or suspense, serve as a quite remarkable analogy for the feeling of powerlessness that is common to trauma survivors. When trauma occurs, the parts of the brain responsible for responding to threat and danger are activated, which in turn sets automatic processes to work. These often happen faster than thought, and once these processes go into effect, our body is on autopilot and we feel a loss of control. So trauma is often born out of a sense of powerlessness in the initial events that bring it about, and then that sense of powerlessness is perpetuated by the body's response to the traumatic event, even long after the event is over.
I play that moment back in my head all the time. Sometimes I imagine myself running to you, pulling you away. I imagine that if I had, that you would still be here. And everything would be right again. I imagine that we could have become friends. Good friends, like a real brother and sister. I know that's stupid. You hated me. I hated you. But I thought that maybe we could try again.
So putting all of these ideas together, one of the things clearly depicted in season 4 is how those who experience trauma feel more and more disconnected from themselves, their bodies in the present moment, and more disconnected from those around them. These scenes really seem to resonate with trauma survivors I've worked with who wrestle with related mental health concerns like depression, anxiety, addictions, compulsions, and other manifestations of feeling powerless. We can relate to being caught up in these moments of dissociated isolation that come as a result of unresolved and unprocessed trauma. Trauma can be one of the most isolating experiences we ever have. Indeed, in the world of Stranger Things, Vecna's strength and power seem to be the shame and guilt and disconnection from self and others that results from trauma. And that's a lot like our world. When we're experiencing trauma, it's very common to feel no one gets us, no one understands. I mean, we don't even get what's happening. And in that loneliness, the tendrils of shame and guilt grow and tighten around us. People see us reacting and wonder what's going on. And in this way, our trauma produces an altered state. Vecna's spell is cast around us, affecting our perceptions, our sense of self, and the way we respond to the world. In a pivotal moment during our heroes' otherworldly adventures, we learn about an important key to combating Vecna's power.
Victor said the night of the attack, everything went on in the house, but he made specific mention of music. He said music was playing. And then when we asked him about the angel, he started to hum. Say nighty night and kiss me, hold me tight and tell me.
In a little dream of me.
Yeah, Ella Fitzgerald.
The voice of an angel.
Yeah. Hatch said that music can reach parts of the brain that words can't. So maybe that's the key, a lifeline.
A lifeline back to reality.
Now, don't get me wrong, I believe in the power of music. But in my opinion, there's another layer here. I'm going to say it wasn't just the music.
What is this? Her song. What's your favorite song? Why? Robin said that if you listen, it's too much to explain right now. What's her favorite song?
In this process, we deliberately utilize or invoke positive memory associations to combat trauma reactions. See, we all have this evolutionary need to belong to others and to ourselves, and trauma seriously compromises that. The music is important, but what's more important is what it brings up for Max. The music was a tool, yes, but it was just one of the many possible helpful tools in our trauma work to ground ourselves and engage the brain in resourcing positive memories. So the goal of successful trauma work then is to reconnect the disconnections. We reconnect to our body, we reconnect to our positive memory networks, and we reconnect to those who are helpful and healing for us. Bessel van der Kolk, author of the famous book The Body Keeps the Score, has written, being able to feel safe with other people is probably the single most important aspect of mental health. Safe connections are fundamental to meaningful and satisfying lives. These healing connections have spell-breaking power to bring us back to where we belong. I love the fact that Max has people in her life that even knew what her favorite song was.
I thought we lost you. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here.